The Dead Parrot sketch is probably the most famous of all Monty Python sketches, and there's a reason why it's remembered so fondly, and in fact can still be quoted verbatim by thousands of fans 60 years after it was first broadcast. And it's not just because it's a great funny sketch, it's because of those final lines of John Cleese, where he hits the shopkeeper with a barrage of 10 different ways of saying that the parrot is bleeding demised, not just resting as the shopkeeper keeps insisting. Cleese was using a persuasive speaking technique that the Romans called Accumulatio or scisis onomatum, but which I call replication for three reasons. The first is that it's easier to say, the second is that it's easier to remember, and the third is that it's descriptive and it explains what the technique does, which is to say the same thing several times but in different ways. So Winston Churchill once said that if you have an important point to make, you shouldn't try to be subtle or clever. He said you should use a pile driver. Hit the point once, then come back and hit it again, and then hit it a third time with a tremendous whack. When I ask people on my seminars to give me a Winston Churchill quote, the one that most people come up with is "fight them on the beaches." Why is it that that speech sticks out in people's minds when so many of his other words are forgotten? Well, one of the reasons is that he used replication. Let's see how he did it and watch Gary Oldman giving the speech in the fantastic movie Darkest Hour.
We shall fight in France. We shall fight on the seas and oceans. We shall fight with growing confidence and growing strength in the air. We shall defend our island, whatever the cost may be. We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight in the fields and in the streets. We shall fight in the hills. We shall never surrender!
Do you think there's any doubt that anyone would not have realised that Britain was going to fight? Churchill just repeated the point again and again and again, to the point where it's impossible for the point not to have hit home. I'm going to give you some more examples of replication from the world of culture, from books and from movies, and then I'm going to explain exactly how you can use it in your own presentation. It's a favourite of many politicians. We've just seen how Churchill used it, but it was a favourite of Barack Obama, and you can see a couple of his uses on the screen now. It's been used throughout the world of literature. The Bible is full of it. It was used by Shakespeare. Here's an example from Raymond Chandler, and even Roald Dahl's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. It's also used in the world of film.
And they will find the evidence of our cruelty in the disemboweled, dismembered, and disfigured bodies of their brothers we leave behind us. And the German won't be able to help themselves. But imagine the cruelty their brothers endured at our hands, and our boot heels, and the edge of our knives. And the German will be sickened by us, and the German will talk about us, and the German will fear us.
Inch by inch, play by play. 1/2 a step too late or too early, and you don't quite make it. 1/2 second too slow, too fast, you don't quite catch it. The inches we need are everywhere around us. Hell yeah. They're in every break of the game, every minute, every second. On this team, we fight for that inch. On this team, we tear ourselves and everyone else around us to pieces for that inch. We claw with our fingernails for that inch. Because we know when we add up all those inches, that's gonna make the fucking difference between winning and losing. Between living and dying.
Okay, let's have a look at how you can use it in normal language when you're giving a presentation. In my online course, How to Open a Presentation with Impact, I'm critical of the low impact, boring ways most people use to open a presentation or speech. And after I've gone through them all and criticised them quite heavily, I then say, now there's nothing criminal with using one of these methods of opening. Nobody will criticise you for opening with a greeting. No one will talk about you around the water cooler because you used a self-introduction. Nobody ever got the sack by thanking the audience for letting them speak to them. There's one example. But I then go on to say, it's just that it's predictable. It's average, everyday, pedestrian, mundane, humdrum, grey, bland, colourless, conservative, forgettable, safe, obvious, so-so, and boring. Wow, that's 14 synonyms. That's more than John Cleese managed in the Dead Parrot sketch. I deliberately use so many for two reasons. One is to show that you can actually do it, but the second also is to show that you can do it without your language sounding strained or artificial or forced. A couple of other examples. In one of my previous videos where I'm talking about how to add human interest to telling stories, I tell a story of the commander of the Austrian forces during the Napoleonic Wars, General Mack, and I want to get over the contempt that he feels for Napoleon. So I say, he's going to take this Corsican peasant, this over-promoted corporal, this jumped-up little upstart. That's use number one. And then I go on to say, and he's not just going to defeat him, he's going to crush him, he's going to humiliate him, he's going to take him back to Vienna in chains. In another video entitled General Kuropatkin and the Russian Searchlights, I say, this idea of Kuropatkins isn't just new, it's different, well, the only word is revolutionary. There's one usage. I then say, the victory he's about to achieve will probably be used as a case study by the Imperial Staff College. His name will be mentioned in the same breath as that of Frederick the Great and Napoleon. He may even become known as the saviour of Mother Russia. Now, how can you use it? Well, let's say that you want to make the point during a presentation that a particular course of action is expensive. Now, you could tag an adjective onto that and say, it's really expensive, it's very expensive. But you simply go to the thesaurus and you look up the word expensive and you'll see something like this. And then you just pick any 3 or 4 that you want. So you could say, it's very expensive, it's extremely costly, and it's a luxury we cannot afford. And that's a lot more impactful than just saying something is expensive. Let's say you wanted to get over the point to your sales force that your targets this year were pretty stretching. You could say, now these targets are stretching, they're ambitious, make no mistake about it, they're big. If you want to say that the competition is possibly going to eat into your market share bit by bit, you could say they'll eat into our market share bit by bit, piece by piece, mouthful by mouthful. And if you wanted to add on that it was time to fight the competition at their own game, instead of just saying that, you could say it's time we fought them at their own game, fought fire for fire, played tit for tat. Now, one final word on the use of replication. It is very powerful because it's memorable, and you don't want to overdo it by using it too many times in one presentation. You don't want to use it every paragraph, in other words. Just take the major points that you want to hammer home, that you want people to remember, and use it there. Next time you're giving a presentation, give it a go, and I wish you good luck, bon chance, and al bocca del lupo. See what I did there? If you've enjoyed this video, why not check out my 3.5-hour online course, How to Open with Impact, which you can get for free for a limited period by following the link that's on the screen now. It's 32 bite-sized videos, so you can watch it whenever and wherever you like. You can binge watch the whole thing or consume it 5 minutes at a time, depending on your schedule. And as I said, for a limited period of time, it's free.